Hi everyone, welcome back. Today, we're diving into a Paper 1 question that trips up a lot of candidates. So grab your notes, get comfy, and let's see if you can figure this one out before I reveal the answer. Alright, here are the choices. Think you can spot the right one before I give the answer? Did you manage to get the right answer? The correct answer is a vested future interest. If you got it right, awesome job. If not, don't worry. That's why we're here, to sharpen your RES knowledge one question at a time. Alright, let's go through the 4 choices together and see what each one means. A vested future interest means a guaranteed future right to the property. There are no extra conditions attached. The only thing is they have to wait for the current interest to end before they receive the property. For example, A has a life interest, meaning A owns and can use the property for their lifetime. B has the remainder interest, which means B will become the owner only after A passes away. However, B's remainder ownership is certain. It's not subject to any further conditions or exceptions. We say that B has vested future interest. What happens to the remainder interest if B dies before A? If B's remainder interest is vested, it's already a guaranteed right. This means that even if B passes away before A, the interest doesn't disappear. It will pass to B's estate or heirs according to B's will or the law of intestacy. For example, the owner has 2 sons. He transfers the property to A for life, with B as the remainder man. Once this transfer is completed, the owner gives up all his ownership rights. A holds the life interest and B holds the remainder interest. If B passed away before A will continue to be the owner of the property for his lifetime. Once A passed away, B's son will be the successor in title. It does not matter if A has successors, as his interest of this property ended with his life. A contingent future interest means someone might get the property in the future, but only if a certain condition happens first. It's not guaranteed like a vested interest because it depends on something happening. In other words, such future interests are conditional and not certain. For example, if a trust says to A for life, then to B if B graduates from university, B's interest is contingent. B will only get the property if they graduate. So, a contingent interest means there's a condition that has to be met before the person gets the property. What happens to the contingent future interest if B passed away before A? In this example, the trust states to A for life, then to B if B graduates from university. In this case, B does not have a vested or guaranteed interest until he graduates from university. His interest will only arise after A's death, provided he has already fulfilled the graduation condition. If B dies before graduating, his contingent interest is destroyed because the condition precedent, graduating, was never met. Since B never lived to satisfy the contingency, the interest never vested and therefore cannot pass to B's heirs. Instead, the property would pass according to the original grantor's instructions for the failure of B's interest. For example, it may revert to the grantor's estate, pass to another named person, or fall under a residuary clause in the trust or will. A reversionary interest is a future interest that the original owner keeps when they give someone else a temporary right to use the property. For example, if the owner says, "I give A the right to use my property for life." When A's life interest ends, the property automatically comes back to the original owner or their heirs. This future right that the owner holds is called a reversionary interest. So basically, it means the property will revert back to the original owner after the temporary right ends. What happens to the reversionary interest if the owner dies before A? The reversionary interest does not disappear when the owner dies. It becomes part of the owner's estate and is inheritable because it is a vested interest the grantor already owns. Upon the grantor's death, it passes under the terms of the grantor's will, or if there is no will, according to intestacy laws. In this case, if the grantor's will leaves the estate to his son, the son inherits the reversionary interest. He will then step in as the owner to receive the property once A's life estate ends. An executory interest is a future interest that will take effect by cutting short someone else's current interest, but only if a certain condition happens. Unlike a remainder, which waits patiently for the current interest to end naturally, an executory interest can jump in early if the condition occurs. For example, if a property is given to A provided she remains unmarried. If A gets married, the property will then pass to B. For example, if a property is given to A provided she remains unmarried. If A gets married, the property will then pass to B. We say B has an executory interest which will only kick in if A marries. So an executory interest depends on a condition and can interrupt the current holder's rights. If B holds an executory interest and dies before A, the outcome depends on whether the condition attached to that interest has been met. If the condition has been fulfilled before B's death, the interest is vested and will pass to B's estate or heirs. If the condition has not been fulfilled, the interest fails and the property will pass according to the grantor's fallback instructions. So regarding this question, do you agree that the answer is A? It is certain that B will get the property after A passed away. B's future interest is not subject to conditions and guaranteed, though delayed. And that's it for today's question. If you found this helpful, give this video a like so more RES students and agents can find it. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification button so you won't miss our next video. Keep practicing, keep learning, and I'll see you in the next episode of the RES Examination Mastery Series.